Hi, guys. Today I thought I would share my entrepreneur journey with you all and take a break from the self improvement as you guys are working through the steps and as you're starting to get some progress. There's some things that are going on in my personal life when it comes to the entrepreneur journey. And I thought a good place to start is where every good story starts at the beginning, of course. So I thought I'd take this evening to go ahead and share my journey with you so far. One of the first things is I was like everyone else, grew up in an upper middle class family, and it was always assumed that you're going to go to school, you are going to go to college, kind of whether you like it or not. Long story short, but when my parents divorced, I was kind of left on my own. So I worked 80-hour weeks. I got a certificate in the field that I'm doing now. And that helped pay for school so that I could actually get out of school with little to no debt. Now, that being said, it did take 8 years of 40 hours a week of work and full time classes on top of that for the most part. No, I had to build up to that because that was a massive balance, like coming from like no background of anything like that, like having to figure that out. So what I did is I added like one class and then another class so that like first it was like one or two classes and then it was like three classes and then it was four classes and I found what my limit was on classes and still doing well while still working full time to pay for them. So I put myself through school, got a bachelor's of science and general business administration. And then I went to go work for a car rental company during COVID, which was one of the most miserable things I've ever did because that was like 60-hour weeks. You're out in the elements. That was not fun. I think almost any other job. I think I would rather do accounting than do that job again. So in any case, that got me to the sales position that I'm at now because I had the background in the industry and I had sales experience. Because the one thing I did do with that car rental is that I used it, it didn't use me. So I got the words that I needed in the sales to prove that I could sell so I could go where I was going, which is the sales place that I'm at now. And got to the top of the hill, took a look around, saw the future, saw the positions ahead of me on what that would take and how much work it would take to get there. And I was kind of, there was a massive letdown in dopamine that I got to the top. I looked around and I'm like, this is it. I can't afford a nice house. I can't afford a nice car. There's not a lot of time off. Like, this is it. This is what I worked 80, 90-hour work weeks for. That I can't even do like not even a third of the things that I would like to do. I want to live this life so loud and have so many beautiful, wonderful experiences when I get to the end of it. I want to say that I was all in on this lifetime, that I believed in myself, and that I gave myself the opportunities and I made opportunities happen when there wasn't doors open. And so after doing, when I was going through, when I hit that top plateau, when I hit the top of my industry, at the same time, during when I was back in the car rental, I was listening to Jordan Peterson every morning on the way to work. Every morning on the way to work, I was listening to Jordan Peterson and I was listening to him say, do not quit your job if that is the only thing you have going for you. Thank you very much, Jordan Peterson. You got me through one of the hardest times in my life. Oh, that job was horrible. So, but I got so addicted to listening to good information, to scientifically proven information. I loved the logic and like I could notice where it was like making a difference in my day. Like it would actually get me to the work job where I wouldn't walk out on them and be like, I've had enough of this. So in any case, that was Jordan Peterson. And then I started listening to Tony Robbins. And Tony Robbins was all about the actualizing. And that's about the steps that I've kind of given you guys in the past few weeks as well. And I actually saw an improvement, feeling better, looking better, being able to talk more confidently, just being much more put together, way more put together. And I started to get addicted, like that. It's kind of one of those things like with the burden where if you don't pick your burden, it picks you. Like get addicted to something so that it's something constructive. And trying to show up to be the best version of me every day, well, I'm all in on that. I'm cool with that. So I was listening to Tony Robbins. He was coming to town. So I went to one of his, I think, what was it, Unleash the Power Within seminars. And that's an interesting story. So I'll do a review of that at some point. But I went there to do the review. Two major things happened at that event. First was that I recognized that 95% of the room was entrepreneurs, and that I was in a very small majority on people that were working 9 to 5. Two, I realized that there was a demand, that there was, when I went to the thing, I'm like, is there going to be a lot of people here? Like, is there an actual like need or a want for this? Is there an actual demand? And I'm like, wow, I think I might have joined a cult without even knowing it. Because people were like, oh, I've been here one or two times, three times. And I'm like, you needed to come to one of these seminars two or three times to do what he says? And it's like, no, 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 that's not the case at all. What it is he makes you feel so good that you literally walk out of that seminar on a high. Never been high before, but I think that was a pretty close one when it came to Tony Robbins and that seminar. People go for the high. That's why they come back two or three times in a row. And you're surrounded by like-minded people. The second major thing that happened and was a real click in my life, I've always kind of been a natural leader. Even when I keep my mouth shut sometimes, like I seem to be a natural people that draw people in. And so on this seminar, as Tony was talking about, there's a lot of exercises that you do, and he was talking about how we were needing a leader. And as he was speaking that, I'm like, okay, this time I'm going to run an experiment, and I'm going to see if I don't say anything, if I don't do anything, if I don't put myself out there, what happens. And I have these two beautiful ladies on either side of me sitting next to me. And I'll never forget this one lady. She had a multi-million wedding photography business and wedding hosting weddings business. She's talking about scaling her business in the tens of millions. And when Tony Robbins was talking about picking a leader, her and the other girl turned, and she's like, but they both turned at the same time, and it was like pure fate. And they're like, you are the leader on this. And it was just so flattering that they just looked at me and pulled me in like that and let me lead them. These people who I thought had it more together than me, definitely more successful than me financially at the moment when it comes to the scoreboard, are looking at me to be a leader. So that's when I'm like, okay, all right, that experiment worked. Okay, so maybe you are a bit of a natural leader self. So that's a good thing. That's a good way to learn. Okay, so now I know that I want to be an entrepreneur. I know that I need a business. Okay, because if you want to have true wealth, if you want to have true freedom, you got to get out of the rat race. You got to get out of the rat race. Well, how to get out of the rat race? You have to own something. Something has to be yours. Okay, so I'm gonna go own something. Well, that took forever. By the time from Tony Robbins to finding Iman Gadzhi and finding his agency accelerator, no joke, probably took me like 8 months. 8 months of sleuthing through the internet, looking at like e-farming and looking at the Audible thing that they were talking about making money at. And the this and the that. I'm not kidding. I probably went through like 20 different offers, finding the offers, figuring out, no, it's not the right vehicle, because I know I need the right vehicle. So if you are going down an entrepreneur journey as well, one thing. My story, my experiences are mine. If you're seeing this video in 5 to 10 years, it might not be relevant. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be honest about what I'm doing and why. And maybe that fits you. Maybe there's pieces of my story that you can take to help custom fit where you're going. I'm just trying to be honest and authentic. And those are like my two main guidelines. And also to be proud that if I have a future husband or my future kids are watching these things, that I'm not going to be like, please don't look at that video. So those are my guidelines for also this YouTube thing while I'm at it. But I knew that I wanted a business. I knew I wanted to own something. And so I was looking at all these online businesses. Why? Because I created a grocery list. You know, when you're going to buy a house, like, okay, it needs to have a backyard, and it needs to have a kitchen, and it needs to have this and that. And then you have your wish list, like, well, I can give and take on this a little bit. There's the must-haves and there's this would be nice. So I created a list of my must-haves. And one of the big ones is that I want location freedom. I don't want to be stuck in one city where, things can happen or things can change. COVID was a good indicator of that. So I need to have location freedom for one. Number two is that it needs to be something that doesn't take a lot of capital. Because I don't have parents and I don't have a lot of backing, I'm completely on my own on this. I'm doing this with the finances that I have, that I've earned. I don't have generational wealth behind me to figure this thing out. And I don't want to take out, let alone I don't even think they would give it to me, to take out a massive loan to get this thing off the ground. So that's why I was like, it has to be something where I can pull in a customer, sell the customer on the service, and then hire or contract that service out. And so that everyone's getting paid, and I'm not coming out of money out of my pocket with money I don't have. If I don't have the money, right? Basic sense here. I'm trying to get cash flow. Cash flow. So I need something that is going to work in that regard. I don't want to come up with $200,000 for like a brick and mortar store and be out that 200 if things don't work out. So it needs to be something with an acceptable amount of risk that's involved with it. I also want to do something where the learning curve on how to be excellent at it or outstanding at it is not nearly as steep as having to do 50 years of experience in order to get any return on investment. Or you can also call that ROI, just so you know, for a business term today. So when I was doing all of that, at one point, Iman Gadzhi popped up. And I'm like, okay, this guy looks interesting. Little young, but interesting. And then he started getting really smart. And then it started like, oh, I like this. And as I was watching his videos, I would look in the comments and I would see people talking about how they were pulling in $20,000 a month. $20,000 a freaking month. And then there was a couple that were like $30,000 or $40,000 a month. And I'm like, okay. And I did some research and I'm like, are these robots putting this on there? Because you never know nowadays. I'm like, okay, let's find out who this Iman Gadzhi guy is. So then I went and I Googled and I started doing some research and I started poking holes. I used this thing between my two ears and I'm going to be like, okay, let's take this logic and let's poke some holes. Because that's what I did with the other 20 other offers like the e-farming and the Audible and the things of that nature. And when I would read the reviews, I'm like, yeah, nope, not going to work. Not what I'm looking for. And then I started reading the reviews and I started thinking about like, okay, well, does it fit the vehicle that I'm looking for? And it's like, yes, it does. I'm like, okay. So that's why I chose Iman Gadzhi and the Agency Accelerator. Why? Because he was first. Don't you want to learn from someone that's already been there and already done it? I don't have all day. Life is not getting any longer here, okay? It's getting shorter. There's only so much time. My time is valuable. I do not spend it unwisely on people or goals that I'm trying to achieve here. I want to get somewhere. I want to do something with my life. I want to live it the loudest and the fastest and the most wonderfully way that I can. So that all to be said, I did join Iman's Agency Accelerator. Now, I was fairly sick, and I will be straight up honest. I had a thyroid condition that I was dealing with at the time. It's in remission, thank goodness. I hope I never see that thing again. But when you have a thyroid problem, you have an energy problem. And it was a struggle just to get through my day. It was a struggle to just get through my day. I will also say this. I do have my regular job. When I am working, I am present. I am outstanding at what I do when it comes to my day-to-day job. There's a reason why I got put in a bunch of effort and I've got a bunch of awards on the first year. I try to get all the experience. And that was also one more push towards the door of entrepreneurship because I got years worth of experience in that first year. I freaking hustled. And when I went to go interview for the next level up, they're like, yeah, you need more experience. You need to sit. Literally, the only reason why I would not get up to the next level is because they were telling me I didn't have enough time. Even though I did all these other things, even though I had all these awards and done X, Y, and Z and had overkilled on that level, they're like, yeah, you got to sit. And I'm like, enough of this. Enough. Absolutely enough. I'm not going to sit here when I already have the information, when I could already do the next job 1,000 times better than the person that's probably already there, because I went hunting for that information because I'm actively trying to be better. And you're telling me I need to sit for 2 or 3 years in order to get to the next level? Okay. So that all to be said, do not bite the hand that feeds you. I noticed on Iman and all when I was going through these corporations about what vehicle I wanted to take, I would see these comments about these guys, and my entrepreneurs are mostly guys. I know I'm in the minority here. I'm hoping to change that with this YouTube channel, just saying. But these guys would literally quit their 9-to-5, quit the job, quit the thing that was putting the roof over their head and the heads of their families to go chase Iman's Agency Accelerator. Do not do that. Why would you do that? It's so much easier to get a job while you have a job. And in this case, it's so much easier to discover and fail at entrepreneurship until you get it right when you have something to pay the bills. Something's got to pay the bills. And that's also why, just to be honest, I will at some point, maybe when I leave corporate America, I'd be happy to share where I am and what I'm doing. what kind of sales I'm in and whatnot, but I don't want to bite the hand that feeds me. I want no problems with the thing that's putting the roof over my head. That's why, like, this is only the second time that I've mentioned that I have a 9 to 5. And like, that's it. That's all I'm going to put on here until I get things figured out with the entrepreneur journey. And look, maybe I'm not associated with Iman. Iman doesn't even know that I exist. For now, it is what it is. Who knows? Maybe I can meet him someday if I do this well enough. But poke holes in whatever vehicle it is that you want to take you to entrepreneurship. Maybe you want to do a brick and mortar store, or maybe you want to do a franchise. There's so many ways that you can become a business owner if you want to. But owner is the key word. You have to own things. And for me, I'm looking for a cash flow business. I'm looking to put good quality effort in, but to get a higher return for what I'm putting into it. I'm looking, that was one of my bucket items, is I would like to not just make a couple thousand. I'm looking to make tens of thousands so that I can live the life that I want to live for me and my loved ones. So think about, when you're going down your entrepreneur journey, what works for you. Also, there is another aspect as well to think about when you're doing this, and that is the timing in the markets. Now, there's dumb luck where you win the lottery and you have, out of the 1 billion numbers, you just happen to have that one number. And that is just straight up dumb luck. And then there's business luck. And business luck is preparation meets timing. So I had found Iman's Agency Accelerator, but it was priced a little too high for me at that time. So when Iman dropped it down, I think it was like a $500 discount at one point that he did, I was ready. I had already researched it. I knew what I was doing, and I pulled that trigger immediately and got in at a much lower rate than what the normal rate is for Agency Accelerator. Now, why am I talking about it? Because this is the avenue. This is the car or the model, the business model that I've decided to use to get me where I want to go. Now, I don't think agency is going to be forever, but if it will get me out of my corporate America job where I can put more time and more energy and more capital and more resources into getting up to that next level, for now, my goal is just to make enough money where I can get into this full time, whether it's the YouTube, the agency, preferably both. I am a little ambitious because no, I did not join Iman's Monetize. I told myself that I'm going to do the Agency Accelerator, and I want to fail as rapidly as possible. Well, Marie, why do you want to fail? Because one of the keys in business is how fast can you fail and figure things out versus the other person that's been sitting still. And I will share a recent thing that I've been going through is, I know what I want to do. I went through, when you join Iman's Agency Accelerator, there's like 60 videos about how to do everything. I wanted to know where everything was at, so that if something popped up, I wanted the knowledge in my head. See one, do one, teach one, or something like that. So I wanted to see the information so that I can do the information. And the teach it thing, I don't know. I want no problems with Iman and his team. Just throwing that out there. Who knows? Maybe I'll create my own platform at some point. But maybe I'll create my own platform at some point. That all to be said, I wanted to know where everything was at. And I've been really struggling lately when it comes to actualizing, like actually building the website and things. So I did the 7 whys, and I found that I didn't feel that I was enough. And I'm like, well, okay, well, why don't you feel like you're enough? Well, I don't have confidence. Well, why don't I have confidence? Well, I don't know X, Y, and Z. Iman says that he'll get you about 70% of the way there. I'm going to be honest, because I said that I would be. To me, it feels more like it's 50%. There's still a lot of work that you have to do to compensate. But luckily, there's a lot of information out there, not just with Iman, but other YouTubers and other platforms and other information that can help get you where you want to go. And ironically, I'll even, like, if I have an issue on Iman's Agency Accelerator, I'll just go YouTube him and see if I can see him actually figuring it out and doing it that way. I'm hoping that maybe in the future I can help you with these kind of videos. So that is my entrepreneur journey so far. And that's where I'm going to start throwing in not only the self-improvement stuff, but my entrepreneur journey and where I'm going and what's going on with that, so that I can help keep you guys relevant. And I will let you know one way or another by the end of this year. Preferably, I'm actually going to crunch down that time to put some pressure on myself. I would like to have my first client like in the next 2 to 3 months. I'm working really hard to have those done in the next 2 or 3 months. And I will take you on this journey with me. And by the end of it, you should find out if Iman's Agency Accelerator is worth your time or not. Because I'm going to put in a massive amount of effort and try to make this thing work, if nothing else, through sheer willpower and learning how to figure it out myself if I have to. So in any case, everyone, I hope you found my journey to be interesting. I hope you found it inspirational, that maybe there were some things that you also related to in this video. Please do me a favor. I'm trying to help people, and you can help them too by going ahead and clicking on that like button and clicking on that subscribe button. It helps me help other people. So I so appreciate you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.